Have you ever had an intuitive feeling or just a feeling that something was going to happen and then you weren't sure how to tune into that a little bit more or if it was real kind of
Or can
thing?
recognize that it was
Right.
something that you should be listening to.
Yes.
Right.
Well, so today we have an expert in that field, Jamie Butler, who is a medium, intuitive. She's an author of With Love and Light, and she's also a channeler, which is fascinating to see her channel. So, Jamie, thanks for being here today with us.
Hi, Jamie. Good.
Hi. Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love being with you guys.
We love having you. And we are on Balance Your Life, Our Evolving Consciousness today. So, Jamie, tell us, how did you start doing this?
Oh my God. I don't recall a time where I didn't see or engage in spirit or subtle light energy.
Wow.
So that was just kind of childhood up. But making it more of a business, it was not my dream. Did
Okay.
not imagine doing this. Didn't go to college for this, but it kind of consumed my interests and people were desiring it, supporting it. So I did learn how to manage it a little bit better
Right.
because back in the day, this will date myself, right? But like in the 90s, early 90s, it was more of this type of field was woo woo. It was out there. It wasn't really organized. And it was very important to put labels on everything, to really share with people what you're able to do. And I didn't feel comfortable with how loose everything was. And when you would go to learn something from someone else, a teacher, guru, master, however they would title themselves about subtle light energy, intuitive, psychic abilities, those things, it wasn't as woo woo. They were like, this is how you have to do it to get to the end results. So
Okay.
there was a lot of like contradicting approaches and feelings around the field. So when I launched my business, I made sure to run it like a business, to follow through, to be reliable, because that wasn't necessarily the characteristics in the 90s.
Mhm.
Or
And
even
then
today sometimes, but we
or
won't.
today, I think we're better at it today. I think we're seeing like we can do that now.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then, getting into teaching, which is a big passion of mine, is teaching other people how to discover their abilities, not have me in the teacher position saying, this is how you do it. So
Right.
there's the flip on that now as people are just coming online by the drones, and it's so exciting.
Yes,
This,
Really,
it
it really
really,
is.
I know we've seen such a shift in like the last
right?
couple years. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, now people want answers, they want to talk about it.
Well,
It's like,
I think now because it's so apparent that there is something and there is help out there, and
mhm.
people are not ignoring it. When people
Right.
get a feeling or a knowing in the past, they would just easily move on. And now people are saying, "Hey, there's what is that?" There are
Right.
places to look and find out. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
And more people are
Yeah.
coming out of the closet.
Did you have
Yeah.
support as a young person? Because you said this went back as far as you can remember. Did you have support as a young person?
Not so much. My parents absolutely adore them, did their best with me.
Right.
It was more of, Jamie, gosh, you have a good imagination. How do you know that? Why would you say that, Jamie?
Right.
Why would you save seats at a restaurant or tell your brother, don't sit there, so and so sitting there? Like, who are they? We're not seeing them. Who are you talking to, Jamie? Who are you playing tag with, Jamie? Nobody's there. And I'm like,
Uh,
oh, there's so many there.
what could
So, yeah, not so much support, but
Parents now who are dealing with, because we know what's happening with the young ones coming in,
Mhm.
right? How connected they are now, and what would you recommend to parents who have kids doing those type of things?
listen. Number one is listen. Don't interrupt. Listen, ask questions.
Mm.
And then go and take some notes on what your child just said. If they're talking to somebody, what do they look like? Do they have a name? What color is their hair? How do you feel when you're with them? Do you enjoy being with them? Asking those kind of questions and then documenting it. And then when they show those behaviors again, like they're in communication or they're getting information elsewhere, go back and ask the same questions. Because if it's their imagination, those descriptions of who they're talking to, all of that is going to morph to what they're being creative with in their day-to-day life or what they're doing at school or in their daycare or with their nanny, parents, so forth. But if it's the same entity coming in, they're going to look at you like, "Ah, I told you last time,
Right.
brown hair, man,
Yeah.
like daddy, like this, like that." And you're like, okay, now we've got someone. And just as you would use your skills to meet a stranger, to like, hey, are we going to be friends? Use those same skills, even though they're not embodied, they're disembodied. Use the same skills through your child to see, friend, can we do this? What's happening? Because my parents were like, the theme was, we wanted to normalize you. And they've told me that as an adult, like, we really worked to normalize you because we thought it'd be easier for you, easier to make friends, easier, to behave in a classroom, easier attention spans, things like that. But it just stifled, when I started to agree with them and I said goodbye to spirit guides, the beings that were around me. At age 6, that was like my first time being alone. I was
Right.
alone. And it was not fun, not fun whatsoever. I was kind of relieved that they came back as a teenager, but still overwhelmed by it because I didn't have definition around it. So I would say definitely get with your child and form definitions of what's happening. Create your own language if you have to. And if it's out of your hands, seek a therapist, but seek a therapist who understands the subtle light energy world.
Yeah, right. Just
Right.
Love that. I
not
think,
just
yeah, I mean, that's such great advice because you're also not only supporting your child, you're helping them develop
yeah,
and hold
yeah,
on to the gift. I love
Yes.
yeah,
Imagine, don't you hear so many people who come to you and go, as a kid, I used to be able to do that. As a kid, I would have dreams and they would
yes,
come true. As a kid, I could see, feel, hear all of this, and now I don't as an adult. Can
it.
you imagine if the children that are coming in now, we harness those abilities because we don't train their mind for 12 to 15, 20 years of schooling
right.
for mental intellect as a measurement of grandness and good. We also give influence or attention to their emotional intelligence,
Yeah,
to their intuitive intelligence, and we don't scrape those off the plate anymore. And then we have all these adults in our government running our world, contributing to the outcome of our wellness as humanity, who have stayed in touch with their intuitive abilities. Ah,
right.
sign
Well,
me.
That's
I
hopefully
mean,
where we're
this
going,
is it, right?
right?
This is the
This is we're
shift
on
of
the
what's
cut. Yeah.
happening with this energy now, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that's our future. That's
Yeah.
Right.
into. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And also the work that you do with just adults coming to you, people of all ages, saying, I used to remember, or I used to have a feeling, or I had dreams, right? So how are you working now with people to reconnect? Where we talked
Yeah.
about initially. How do you
Right.
do that?
I've tried to break it down into classes that kind of has a sequence to it in a way, but you can take them individually. So I teach this class called Perceiving and Reading Energy. And I'm actually going to be teaching it with the Shift Network coming up
Oh,
in
yeah.
March
Oh,
13th.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
yeah.
And
That's great.
Very exciting.
so any of our listeners here, if you want to seek that out, you guys have links that you can show.
Yes.
But it's how to read subtle light energy, and it's discovering your unique way of pulling information from subtle light energy. So it's not a class that's going to be like, hey, this is how you see, hear, smell, taste, energy, though I do an in-depth on that. But this class is more like, what do you feel like when you're around that particular frequency? And then we take it and align it to colors. So it's easier for us to organize our thoughts and communicate easier because you're like, oh, this emotion, this thought, this image, this characteristic is a red.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, a red. So now when you perceive red, whether that's psychically seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, then we know those characteristics you just described belong to that frequency bandwidth. So now when you're perceiving it out in the world around a plant, animal, fruit that you're picking in a grocery store, a friend standing next to you, you're like, oh, this is what's going on with them. Because now I've linked it back to a system that I understand. And we navigate that through the visible spectrum from red to violet, and then also varying colors in between, and talk about the lighter and darker hues of it. Because just like emotions or thoughts or anything out there, we can have a true tone core experience with it, or it could be lighter, or it could be twisted and a little muddled. So we want to talk about how you not rely, but connect and then rely on your definition of what that frequency is. So then you can just absorb information from everywhere. Then if you want to take it deeper, like I like to teach trance states, trance channeling. I like to teach how to do readings, meditation, healings, mindfulness. I get so excited.
Yeah, the
It-
things that she teaches are amazing.
you truly are a teacher. You really are. I mean, besides doing the work and bringing the messages, and you just and you do it in such a happy
Yeah.
way.
Oh, look at her sign,
And
laughter
it's
here.
just, I know.
I love it.
But
Yeah.
it's you really are doing incredible work, bringing this
Yeah.
forward and helping so many people who are questioning and seeking now.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah. I want to talk,
Thank you
can
for
we
doing it.
talk a little bit more about what is it? What was it?
Trance channeling.
Trans channeling.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, Ken. How does that work?
Yes, I didn't even know that was a thing until when I was in college. I was under my teacher's tutelage, and one day she says, "I'm going to let a spirit come in and talk through my body." And I thought, "Oh, no, you're not. Like, I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to do this. This is weird." And it was scary, and it was the most unique, crazy, uplifting thing ever. A young spirit came in named Maitland and talked, gave us all messages. And then when my teacher came back into her body, she says, "What did she do with my body? Did she fold my legs up?" I said, "Yeah, she crisscross applesauce. She just folded those suckers up." She goes, "I can't do that." We're like, "But you just did." And she goes, "Hold on." She went and she got an x-ray. She had, back then, a hip replacement was a plate, and they would drill. And so her hip joint didn't have the rotation to flip her leg in. But that spirit, when it would come into the body, would flip that leg in. We have
Wow.
no idea how, because there's metals and pins. And then she said to me one day, "This is something you can do." I was like, "That's okay." She says, "Okay, next Tuesday we're going to do this." And I was like, oh my God, panicked like for a whole week. And she walked me through, it was like hypnosis.
Uh-huh.
Coming in and dropping my brain waves and diving into delta. And it was just like sleeping while I was sitting up. And then I came to and I looked at her and I was like, "Told you it wouldn't work." You know? And everybody's sitting there. Some people were crying. And I was like, "What's going on?" She was like, "You've been out for like an hour and a half and you gave everybody a reading." And I was like, "No, I didn't." And it was terrifying having to manage this lost moment in time that people had engaged with me, but I wasn't there. So that was a whole other thing to manage. And then I just kind of took off from that.
Wow.
So I take the time to teach other people and really normalize this kind of work because it used to be really normal.
Yeah, yeah.
It used to be really normal. We just lost our way.
I just have to ask you because I've seen you do this once, and I saw it's Maitland and Grace, right? The two, what do you call them, entities or spirits that come in?
Yeah, those are two that I work with frequently.
So Maitland was in your teacher, and then she
Yes.
decided to come and be with you, or are they in multiple places? I don't know.
Multiple places.
Okay, multiple people, however that, okay. But that's the two that you work with all the time.
Yes, mostly. And then there's other entities that come in. Archangel Michael likes to do a lot of work.
Ah.
And other entities. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I have to like sit in my head and go, "Come on now." Like,
Yeah.
When you
Who am I to do
channel
that?
now, do you always you're not aware of what's being said?
mm-mm.
So,
No.
so after you have given a session and you've you come back into your body and center, do you then go watch the recordings of everything?
It's not recorded. I know.
It is recorded.
I watched her,
Well,
and
she records it, but right, I mean,
no. Do you?
Yeah, it's weird.
I've
You
seen
know,
Well,
there-
when you were here, you actually, or Colleen, your assistant or whatever, she said you're not allowed to record this. You're not allowed to have your phones on or anything. So I
Yeah.
don't.
When we do small groups in person or do class in person, we're like, no recording.
That's what I'm
And
saying. Yeah.
people have a difficult time feeling comfortable if somebody's
Right.
recording. What if they want to ask something they don't want on record?
Mhm.
So we just don't record anything.
Right. But I have to say, I just have to tell you a brief story because I don't think because
What?
you don't remember, but when you were here, so I was sitting in the back because we were at my office and I wasn't really participating. I was just kind of, hanging out, I thought. And at one point I had to adjust the air conditioning in another room. And I'm in there doing it and I hear somebody going, Deb, Deb, and I'm like, who the heck's calling me? Right? I'm in there with the air, and then I come out and I'm like 3 or 4 times, Deb. And it was Grace, who you were channeling, calling me. And she said, you didn't ask a question. And I'm like, okay. And I of course love this stuff. And she goes, you need to ask a question to me. And I said, oh, okay. And then I didn't know because I was on the spot and I was kind of like, okay, well, what am I asking? So I just asked something like about my career but I didn't say career. I just said, like, what am I supposed to do next kind of thing? And she goes, you mean about your career? Like, and I said, yes. And then I got a whole thing, which was fascinating and very on point. But that was amazing to me because how did she know that I don't know. I mean, of course they know everything, right?
Mhm.
I guess it's,
Oh, it's wild. I've watched them, well,
yeah,
in readings when I'm present.
yeah.
I've watched Spirit come in and do like a 30-minute rant with someone, and
Mhm.
the person's never asked, like, they didn't even speak up, ask a question,
Right.
and then they go, whoa, 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 Spirit, hold on. I'm like, hey, client, did you want to ask a question? And they're like, listen, I put my questions together and they're going one by one down my
Yeah.
list. I'm
Yeah.
good. Just tell
That's
them to keep
exactly what
going.
I have to ask.
I was like,
I
how?
didn't know I was gonna, I wasn't planning on participating at all.
Do you
But
know who the entity like Grace? Do you know who she is? Can you say she is from this time or this space, or she's angelic realm, or
As I learned more and more about her, and she came to me when I was writing my book, actually, with Love and Light, like in 2017 when I was writing it. And her energy when she would come near me would kind of just make me freeze, like want to go, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, like great respect, like, oh my God, what's this, you know? And throughout the years, she's lightened up some, and she shares a little bit about her incarnation on Earth.
uh-huh.
In somewhere in the mid 1800s in England, outside of England proper,
Yeah.
she talks about a place called Margate,
I don't know.
and she gives little like tidbits of her family life and so forth, but she prides herself on being a counselor, somebody that you speak to before you incarnate. And she listens to what your wants are. What do you want to learn? What are your needs? What do you want to go back through? And she helps you kind of place things together. And she jokes about how most people stack their plate up like really high, and she's usually there going, why don't we take some of that off? Why don't we ease that life up? Why don't you have just have a good time, you know? And
Right.
then helps them and then counsels and guides them, through that life. So I've met a lot of people where I glance over and I see her with them. And it's like, oh,
that's
like
so
we're in these circles and our tribe is coming together and you're watching how she's kind of above it all and they're kind of all her kids is how she
Oh,
she.
interesting.
I
stands in
recently
life.
was watching on your channel a channeling you did with Grace, and it was for humanity, and it was the shift and the energy that is coming in and
Oh,
talking about
I have to watch that.
well, it was
Yeah.
amazing because it was we talk about our evolving consciousness, and she was saying that that is what the shift is. It's a
Hmm.
shift in human consciousness and vibration.
Right.
But she is just like so knowledgeable and so lovely. And right, so we know Jamie, and Jamie is
Yeah.
just amazing light. When anybody who's sensitive to energy is like, wow, her
Yeah.
light, she's happy and she's loving, and Grace is all of those things in this very like she's taking care of us kind of way. She
Mm.
just yeah,
And
yeah.
she is direct in the most kind way.
That
Like
is
it's not something that I embody.
That's great.
There's times I go into conversations and I'm like, "Ugh, I wish I had that.
Right.
I don't know what it's
You
called.
do.
You just kind of exit
It's
for a
no
little bit.
nonsense. It's
Right.
delivered beautifully,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
it's direct. It's
Yeah.
yeah, she's something. Yeah.
Yeah.
She says hi to you.
Hi. That's great. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about an exciting event that we have. And if you're local, it is in New Jersey in Bergen County and Ridgewood.
You can certainly fly in if you'd like to.
Yes,
because-
please fly in. But it's Sunday, March 23rd. And we are going to have a panel of intuitives that are world renowned, also healers and mediums.
And
Yeah.
mediums, and all of which who have been guests on our podcast.
Yes.
So you've had a chance to get to know them, hear about them.
Or you can certainly go back and listen to
Check
their
it out.
podcast. But we have some really great people, and they are there to talk about the power of intention, which is our title this time, and give their different perspectives on that. And we'll probably jump in with that too,
We always do.
because we like to.
But they will
Yes.
answer your questions, and the really cool thing is you're going to get guidance from more than one
Yes.
intuitive, right? So
At least two, if not
Yeah.
all the panelists
Yeah.
jump in, because
Sounds
they
like-
can't control themselves, honestly. But that's okay.
And even when you're not called on, somehow miraculously your questions are answered. It's an
Yes.
incredible vibration.
Yeah, it's a great energy in the
and-
room. It will raise your vibration
Yeah.
and your frequency just by being there.
Yeah.
But if you have questions, you're seeking clarity, or just anything you want to know about in any aspect of your life, right? Relationships, love, career.
We never know what's going to happen,
anything.
but it's always amazing.
Right. Just come with your questions and look forward to getting them answered by our amazing panelists.
And please remember to subscribe below and like us so that we can continue to bring you incredible guests. And
Thank you for listening.
thank you for listening. So, how long is this course, the course that you're doing, how long is that going to run, that you're going to be doing?
Ooh, with the Shift Network, it is 7 weeks. It's kind of a shorter, condensed version, and then we'll go hopefully into an extended, like graduate for a 12-week deeper dive into clarifying your ability to perceive subtle light energy.
You should do that.
Yeah, really.
I know. It sounds,
Is it once a week?
Yes, so it's once a week for 7 weeks, and then we'll take a bit of a break, and hopefully I'll land the grad class.
Yeah, that's
That'll
awesome.
be once a week.
Really
I think
exciting. Yeah.
this is going to have some following. I think this
Yeah,
is going to have
yeah,
so many
it's
people
great.
wanting to get involved with it. I know I do.
I know. So I was saying
Yeah.
Dina should do it because
Yeah.
she's got the natural abilities to.
Oh.
So Dina's kind of out of the closet, now as an intuitive. She was always giving people readings, but she would never, publicly let anyone know that. So
Just a question, because when people come out and they start sharing who they are, like, would it be easier if it was attached to something as mundane as color? I'm just honestly curious.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
'cause
that would be an easy way.
I think
to
so.
do it, yeah.
What you were describing before made so much sense. Because you can sense something, right, with an individual, or and have that feeling, and if you have more information about it, you have an understanding. But when you have that feeling or that pick up on emotion on something else, and you can relate it to, let's say, the color red, and this is what it embodies and represents, and then you getting it right there, you can say, wow, that makes sense. I have a full understanding. So the concept, and I don't fully get it, but the concept, no, I mean,
Yeah.
of what you explained makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it seems like a good,
Really,
clear path
yes.
to be able to follow and
Yeah.
learn from.
Yeah.
What you're
thank
talking-
you.
Yeah.
Or is it really, because, back in my day, it's like if you were going to do a reading for someone, maybe you'd pull out a tarot deck, and that has a bit of a stigma to it. And it's like,
Right.
here's the hangman upside down, here's the death card, here's
Right.
the hermit, the whatever, and it's like,
No, it's true. That's why a lot of times when we do events, honestly, I have to say we do angel cards instead of, just because it
so
still
many
carries.
who are
Yeah.
connected, who are reading cards, who are not reading the cards
Yeah, it's
at
just
all.
tools, right? They're not
just
even
using them to get both, right? And
right. Or actually, they're using it for maybe the guest or the client, right? So it just looks like they have something, but
Mhm.
most of the time people don't really need them anyway. They're just fun, I think.
Yeah.
So
Do you want to
That's
talk a
very
little
true.
bit about what you think is happening with humanity? Like what your feel is? Do you have anything you want to share about where you think we're going? There's a lot of question now. People are sensitive to energy changing, and everybody has opinions. Do you have anything you want to share about that?
Well, I really appreciate opinions.
Yeah.
It keeps the world going around.
Right. Right. It seems they're very similar, though, a lot of the people that we talk to. So kind of on the same.
Right? This
Mm.
is what gets exciting. I think it's similar because over the last few years, our our consciousness, the way we're collected, mass consciousness,
Mhm.
has kind of tipped from below the 50% point over the 50% point. And
Yeah.
it's like when we get more minds thinking alike or in similar frequencies, aspects, then the more energy is drawn to it. So it's the same as manifesting.
Yeah.
And now we have all these people who are interested, like you were saying before, Dina, it was like they're coming out, but they're going, there's more to this.
Mhm.
And I want to learn about it. And there's validity and there's science behind it. Now I want to know. It's now not a fad. It's not something that was entertainment, a fad,
Mhm.
maybe something useful like a tool that I'll go to every now and then. Now it's a way of living. It's
Mhm.
very different than
It
where we
is.
started from entertainment. And now more and more people are focused on it. So we're seeing more offerings and services that are in alignment with that, even in retail shops,
Yeah.
restaurants,
Mhm.
places where you didn't think intuitive, psychic, tuning in stuff really belonged. It's not just the crystal shop or the bookshop anymore. It's everywhere. It's a vibe, it's a feeling,
Yeah.
and people are talking about it more, which feeds it more. And so, past mass consciousness, I think now we're lagging. Here's my opinion,
Yeah.
we're lagging a little bit in how to talk about it with a language that supports those frequencies because we've spent, as I mentioned before, 12 plus years focusing on mental intellect, which is language skills, but our language, the English language, has more words for separation, division, destruction, war than unity, togetherness, this. And here's where residing, we have less words to use and rely on to communicate. So I think there needs to be, maybe some entertainment fad and then tool work coming into a lifestyle of compassionate communication where we learn the skill of a non-violent way of communicating, which will support a person in not feeling attacked, no confrontation. You're winning, I'm winning. It's stepping away from the dualistic language and coming into I can speak about me and not hurt you. Isn't
Right.
that wonderful? And you
Yeah.
can speak about you and not hurt me. And our differences are beautiful. It's what bring us together.
Right. It seems so simple, but we're getting it, I guess.
Let's get our government in on that
All
one.
right.
I'd like to believe that we're moving towards that.
Yeah.
I I mean, we have a bit of a way to go, but I feel like because so many more people are open, like you said, when the majority or masses are putting their energy towards a positive focus or a desire and knowing, that grows.
Mm.
And then that becomes the norm. And I feel like I don't know, I have, and don't get me wrong, because I say this and I have tumultuous things in my life that I'm dealing with, right? That
To
just
say the least.
right, business wise and things like that. Except I feel very positive and excited. I don't know about the future and
Mm.
about the energy coming in, and by no means do I think it's going to be easy, and I don't think I know what it's going to be, but I just feel good about
Mm.
I guess it's this awakening that's happening or this
Mm.
awareness that's changing with people. Um,
You know what I think that talent is? How you're able to tap into that is you're able to ground through change.
Mm.
Whereas I think a lot of people have worked so hard to ground through reliability, repeatability, control,
Right.
control circumstances, environments, breath, things of that nature. But we're a lot more fluid than what we imagined we were. And now we're developing the skill of grounding through everything shifting.
Thank
Right,
you for
which-
saying that.
Yeah, that's
because,
perfect.
Yeah,
That's a perfect.
wow. Thank you for saying
Do you
that.
actually have any tools or tips or anything that you can tell people to help them with that?
To help ground through change and
change?
shift.
Yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot, but or any kind.
I'm learning live as we speak. Like I do these 21 days of healing where I meet with your energy 21 days consecutive.
Oh,
And Spirit was like, we're going to call this one grounding through change. And I was like, I don't even know what that means.
yeah,
Like, I
but
didn't know what it meant.
Right.
And so as we've been doing it from the beginning of January, it's like hitting me in the face. And I'm like, God, this makes so much sense. So many aha moments in this. And some of what I've learned is that the repeatability and not the reliability, but the repeatability is a false sense of security. Everything is new every time you tap back into it. And when you come into being authentic with yourself, no more lies, stop it. Not even the white lies. And if you're white lying, at least tell yourself, oh, I know I'm doing this.
right. Admit it.
Like, babe, I'm doing this. I'm going to tell you, I don't really want that pizza or whatever it is. And, in the back of your head, like, this is my truth. But, like, no, it is. And when you start moving from that, anything that comes at you, if you can stick with your authenticity and your honesty, like that's the things you ground to. It's the integrity of who you are. And so everything else can change, but what remains you is in that like level of integrity.
Love that.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that.
So techniques on how to get there, I think it's going to be different for all of us,
Okay.
but that's the in focus of it.
Right. I didn't know you were doing something for 21 days. That's great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. This is my third time doing this. 'Cause I teach Reiki,
Yeah.
again, passionate at teaching. And every now and then I'll do 21 days focused healing on an individual. And Spirit was like, let's do this with a group. I was like, okay, 21 people, only 21 people for 21 days.
Okay.
And we do live streams, we do guided meditation, quantum healing, like works on all levels, and then Reiki, and then I tap in with their energy at night. So I get to be with them kind of twice a day.
Oh, wow.
And, the changes are like I'm still
Wow.
Yeah. Seem excited.
understanding how it works like this. It's really
Well, that's
amazing.
great because it seems like it always, I don't know, it's always like new for you, right? Everything that you're teaching and yeah, I don't know. I could tell you're excited.
Well,
Like when
she
yeah,
has that
right,
excitement.
she's got,
but
yeah,
it
she does.
just- yeah.
But that's great because then it's like new things keep on coming
And
to her.
would someone
right?
just go to
Yeah.
your website to find out about everything that you have coming up?
Oh, absolutely. Jamie Butler Medium. And on the landing page, we do our best to put our main offerings and our spiritual tourism trips like straight up on top so that you can see
Where are
it
you
all.
going next?
I was just gonna ask that.
We're going to Sedona at the
Oh.
end of February. We have a few more seats open still. And that's February 27th and March 2nd. It's the art of trance. So we're going to learn how you get into trance for 3.5 days. Rituals, movement, mantras, music, like really good stuff. And then secretly, just between you and I and whoever's watching,
Nobody listen.
Shasta coming up in August, but that's not advertised yet, but that's happening.
Okay, that's
And
very
then we have an African safari. Actually, this is our big international trip. That's in November.
oh
We
wow.
have one private room left and
Wow.
3 shared rooms left open. And it's totally like boutique catered to us for meditating on the Serengeti. They're like going to clear some land out so we can take our group out on the Serengeti and meditate with the lions. They're like, ma'am, if you don't mind a group of people standing around with guns to protect you
Ah!
and you meditate for the peace of the earth, we'll be okay. I was like,
Yeah, okay, whatever works, right? Yeah.
and we're going to hang out with the Maasai tribe. And for those who come with us that are interested in hunting on foot, they can go out with the men. And for the rest of us, me, we'll stay behind with the grandmothers and learn how to pick the herbs, what the healing herbs are for, make the fires and everything of that nature. So it's culturally influenced as well, wherever we go. And we also contribute our time and efforts to the thriving of that culture. So we don't just come and leave and not support them from beyond it.
I love this. So exciting. But I
Yeah.
have to tell you, I do know a little bit of something about the Maasai tribe.
Tell
Um,
me.
well, what they're known for is their great knowledge of the lands and plants more than any other tribe. So just medicinal and just healing and life. And so you're going to have some amazing experiences with that.
Yeah, they're going to walk us through ceremonies around the fire at night, sing all of that, like teach us. Like that's the core of like human nature is in the Maasai tribe. Like that is the area in Africa. It's like humans came from here, if you're thinking of evolution, you know, so it's like ancestral knowledge that I don't feel like where I am and the lineage I came through that I have a slither of if I look at it in a 3D realm. So I'm super excited about being in there.
I
Right.
can't wait to hear if it happens that we're not there but I can't wait to hear what experience you have and what you're given during that time. Because I think that it's going to be really amazing for you and everyone who travels with you, but I'm excited for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would love to say that I'm going to
Okay.
go. I think we're in Portugal
I
in
know.
November,
Oh,
but
are you?
yeah,
Again?
gee, my daughter competes, but wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Oh,
Jamie, do you have anything? Because we started saying when we started talking about how people can be more in tune to
Yeah,
those
with the
little voices that are coming in or knowing
feelings. Yeah.
feelings. So can you give any tips like you just did for that? For if we're just being how to become
More connected or pay attention to the connection. Yeah.
so which is like being more present. And I think we have a lot of language around it, but we don't have a lot of how to do it. And we don't have a society yet or a culture yet that says, hey, I'm not going to pressure you to move so fast. I think you need to be in the moment and make your decision from there. No, that's not happening
That
yet.
would be right.
So I would say for all the feelers out there, and my empaths pointing at you, and the clairsentient people. So anyone who is picking up on feelings, emotions, sensations, I would say the first thing, please, I'll beg, actually, please, figure out your definition of being uncomfortable.
Okay.
Uncomfortable, right? Uncomfortable is okay. Like you can go into a bathroom and like a public bathroom and feel uncomfortable that other people are there, but you're safe, right? You're okay. But you're going to use the bathroom anyways, but you're a little, I don't know why I went to the bathroom. Just let's just be with that one.
Careful though.
No, but
No, we get it. Yeah.
but you do your thing and you come out. But I want you to figure out the smallest amount of uncomfortable because that's when your intuitive and your psychic abilities are screaming at you. It's subtle light energy. So any shift, like tiny pop, like little bitty breath that puts you into a different emotional state, that's a scream from your intuitive side going, something's changed. Alert the systems. You know, we have this information coming in, or this is shutting down. You gave away a boundary, or this person's crossing a boundary, or like, ah.
Right.
But depending on how you were raised, tough, New Jersey tough, you know, it's like New York tough. You step over it. You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm a, strong, independent person, and I'm just going to go through this. Put put your head down and persevere. Well, that will just smear your intuitive hits like off the chalkboard, just gone. So identify your level of uncomfortableness with a definition, and then whenever you feel it, acknowledge it. Go, ooh, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm okay with it, so I'm still going to continue, but I'm aware of it. You do that, your intuition, your words, your sensations will continue, and then you can use them as part of your navigation. With those of you who are heady, analytical, but you're still really intuitive, but you like to compare and measure everything, define everything, for you, it's training the left side of your brain to identify your intuitive hits. And one of the most profound and easiest homeworks I've ever done, and I give this to many people I talk to, is get a piece of paper and pen, not a phone and your voice or your fingertips, paper and pen, or pen and pencil. I don't know, whatever you're writing with. It can be little. Keep it in your purse, your wallet, your whatever, your bra. And whenever you're feeling like weird or a hit, like somebody staring at me, and you turn around and somebody's staring at you, I want you to write down, somebody staring at me, turned around, saw someone, so it's a check. Someone staring at me, check. You had a weird dream. You wrote, shark turned into a horse.
Yeah.
And maybe 4 days later, you go into a shop and there's a really weird piece of artwork, shark turned into a horse. You're like, that's, is that I don't know. Check.
Right.
Because your intellect has studied for so many years with books and with being graded and having check marks and X marks, that if we do this with our intuitive body and we write it down and later on you go back and you mark off the ones that were accurate. When I met this person, I thought they were no good and a bit of a DICK. That's an opinion and a judgment. But you're like, fine, everybody likes this person, so I'm going to do business with them. 3 weeks later, yeah, you got that? 3 weeks later, you're like, oh my God,
Why
they are
didn't I
such a good
listen?
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't I? Go
Yes.
back to the paper, check. Oh, I want to eat this, but your body goes, ooh, you shouldn't eat that. But you ate it anyways, and you got a bellyache and you didn't feel good. Check.
Yeah.
Then when you go back after a day or a week, I like doing it for a week,
Okay.
and you flip through and your left side of your brain sees your score and sees what you're doing, and it goes, oh my God, you're really good at this. Now I know when you're doing that, I'm going to go, hey, that's your intuitive self. You know this to be true already. Just pay attention to it.
Right.
And it starts cheering you on instead of sweeping it under.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
I
great.
love that.
You are so good at giving people tips.
Yeah. It's
Just
amazing.
in such a unique way. So you deliver, like I said, just the ultimate natural
Yeah.
born teacher.
Teacher. Yes.
But thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on. I would really love it if when we get together again, see how we're saying we are getting together again.
Yes.
If we could ask you to trans-channel for us.
Yeah.
I would love that. Absolutely. Let's put it on the calendar.
It's so fascinating. I know.
I may not be able to speak afterwards
Yeah,
because I'm quiet, but yeah.
You don't have to speak when she does it. It's like amazing. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Now, give one more plug for your class on the Shift Network coming up.
Oh, the art of reading subtle light energy, where you get to discover your own way of doing intuitive readings, where you get information from the energy around you. So anything animate and inanimate has energy, has information. You can live your day-to-day life knowing what that is.
Great. And that's it coming out in March.
Yes, 13th is the first class.
I was gonna say it, but I thought maybe I was wrong. All right. That's great.
You're right.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Well, thanks again for being with us. It was so great to see you.
Oh my God, thank you guys. I loved this. Very appreciative.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, I'll talk to you soon then.
You got it. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. And we'll see you next time.